Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dead Money with Dan Arfin. Like and subscribe to the channel. I don't have anything else clever to say about liking and subscribing. Just do it. I have some exciting news to report. I was on a poker podcast. I was interviewed, and it'll be coming out soon. I was on the Poker Zoo podcast. I was interviewed by Chris Murray. Chris Murray has been following me on X for a while, and he reposts my episodes all the time, and I thought that this was a guy I didn't know. Well, it turns out it is a guy I know. Played with him a few times at the 2-3 deep stack game, which has a 600 min with no max. They got some interesting rules going. I forget all of them, but one of them is you got to show one card every time you win a pot. That doesn't get the showdown. And you got the small blind bounty. Every time you play a hand, I think the small blind throws in an extra $5, or the dealer throws in an extra $5. Someone throws in an extra $5, and that's the small blind bounty. So you could have blinds of 2 and 3, but the small blind could have lost the hand, 10 hands in a row, meaning there's now $50 for the small blind bounty. So if you're on the small blinds and the bounty's up to 50, you're not only playing for the blinds, and whatever other money comes in, you have this other $50 that you can also win. And that, of course, can cause all kinds of crazy outcomes. But anyway, I really enjoyed giving the interview. I'll certainly tell you guys about it again once it's out, because it's going to be a few more days. But I thought Chris was great. He's got a calm, chill radio voice. When he asks a question, he just lets you talk, which is something I think I've gotten better about with my guests, but he certainly has it down. As far as how I did on the interview, I think I would give myself a B+. I mean, I gave a good account of myself. And all the people who listen to that have never heard of the Dead Money show will either decide to check my show out or not. I don't think it would have made a difference if my interview was any better. If I got an A, I think I'd get the same number of people checking out the show. I wasn't exactly nervous. I mean, I kind of was a little. I mean, it's the same thing. He was doing the same thing that I do. I mean, it's not a live recording. Every time I bring a guest in, I tell him, look, if you got to re-speak something or rethink something, or if you're not sure what to say for a while, don't worry about it. I mean, by the time I edit this thing, it's going to sound like a smooth conversation. You have no idea what hiccups may have taken place. I tell them all this so that they have no reason to be nervous. But when you're talking to somebody who has never been on a microphone or hardly ever, you can tell them everything I just told them, but it doesn't matter. They're still a little nervous. The microphone, just the presence of a microphone, makes them a little nervous. And I guess just giving an interview just made me, just mildly anxious at times. But I was having a great time. I was sitting in a relaxed position, and at times I even remind myself. I had long pauses where I didn't know what to say, or I was thinking of what to say. So, I was certainly comfortable with the idea that I don't have to proceed as if this is a live interview. But even so, there were times I lost train of thought a little bit, or I got off tangent and then couldn't get back on the original thing. I mean, I do that a lot, I think. But either way, it was a great thing to get to do, and I certainly can't wait to do it again if and when I get the opportunity with anybody. And surely the next time I do it, I'll feel even more relaxed and give an even better account of myself. But it was good. I mean, I talked about some things I didn't expect to talk about. I thought of some things I never thought of before, so it was eye-opening in that regard for me. But anyway, I'm just going to talk about what happened today. I still haven't been playing poker. I went out and played some 1-3 today at the Win. That's Friday. I've been telling myself I'm not touching 1-3 anymore. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Well, today I did it because I guess I'm just dying to get some action in already, and I still don't feel like playing my normal game. I walked by it today thinking I might play, but I just look at these fucking nit-looking players, and I'm sure the game is fine, but I don't know. I guess maybe I just want something else right now. So I played a little bit of 1-3. I played a 2-hour session and left because I was bored. The game actually was kind of boring, and I'm not grinding a fucking boring game at 1-3. Fuck. I don't want to sound all high and mighty here. It's just 1-3 is a lot of action. There's a lot of fish. And if that's not what the game is, then I don't care. So that's all. First session was 2 hours, and the next one was 1 hour. So first I'll just start with what happened in the first session. We had this Indian player in the game, and we know that anyone with a moderate amount of experience should have figured out by now that Indians are the biggest fish. Why is that the case? I don't know, but it seems pretty apparent. They have the highest percentage of players that just have no fucking clue what they're doing. Like, none. This guy, who was a very pleasant-natured man, friendly, wasn't winning at all, did not act like a baby about it in any which way. This guy just had no idea what the hell was ever happening. We got a straddled pot. He's under the gun, and it's like the dealer tells him it's his turn. He's sitting there, and he's looking at his cards, and I'm like, not sure if he's thinking or not. So I just wait. He looks up again. People are looking at him. The dealer's futzing with the rack. There's just nothing going on. If I just look at him, I'm a couple seats away. I'm like, can you play your hand? I mean, look, I know you want to be nice to the fish, and you know that if they can't even tell when it's their turn, that they're probably not very good at poker. But it's like, how do you not fucking know when it's your turn? I mean, how do you come into these games with just absolutely no idea? It's surprising that people even want to. I don't know if there's really any sort of like unspoken, mandatory knowledge. You got to know something. I mean, but it's just... It gets uncomfortable when you have a guy who just never even knows when it's his fucking turn. I mean, I've taught people to play poker, and I've plenty of times I've taught them the rules. I'm like, look, no matter how many times I show this to you, or how well I explain this to you, you're gonna have to see this 10 or 15 times before it starts to get familiar. But it's like orbit after orbit after orbit. Like, the guy's under the gun. Like, he hasn't like noticed like just the way the blinds move. It's like, it's not that fucking hard to figure out. You're dealing with just a small and big blind game. It is not hard to figure out. You see the action is moving clockwise, and the blinds are rotating clockwise. So I don't know if he's just not paying attention that much, or if he's just not getting it. I don't know. But look, Indians who speak with that accent, I mean, it's one of the funniest sounding accents when people speak English. And it looks perfect because of what Indian people look like. And reminder, this is not racist, okay? I'm trying to talk about some funny shit here, okay? It's not racist. I'm not looking to make the guy's life more difficult. I'm just saying this was funny. Anyway, I didn't even pay attention. How many times do you find me saying that every show? I wasn't paying attention. He gets the showdown with two other players, and I think he didn't realize it was his turn again. Oh, really? I mean, he turned his hand over before he was supposed to. He turned over 8-6 offsuit, which was 8 high, because the board was nothing that interacted with 8-6 offsuit. But I think he said something along the lines of like how it wasn't his turn, or he's like, oh yes, but I win in this case. He's turning over 8 high with two, undeclared hands still live. And he's turning over 8 high and claiming that this hand is going to win. He seemed to believe he had a straight. I don't think he thought 8 high was good. And somebody turned over a pair of some dumb shit and won. But the dealer was just explaining to him why he didn't win. And he wasn't arguing, but like he thought he won. He was like, oh, I thought I won because of the 9. There was no 9. I don't even think any of the players had a 9. There were no 9s tabled. I would just love to have just lived in this guy's brain for just for the duration of this river conversation, showdown conversation. What is he actually thinking? What led him to think that this is about to happen? Oh, I'm about to win this pot. Then he tried to check on the button. It folded to him, and he checked. Then he limped the button. The small blind raised to 13. I folded the big blind. The button called. Let's just call him Mo. The flop comes 10-8 to all spades. The small blind bets, and Mo calls. The river is a jack. The small blind jams, and when that had started, there were probably 100-ish big blinds effective, maybe less. Mo snap calls. The small blind is this younger Asian guy. He asks him, he's like, do you have a flush? Mo nods his head, yes. The river is a 7, so we got 10-8 deuce, all spades, jack 7. And now the small blind says, I have a straight, turns over just a 9, doesn't turn over both cards. I hate when fucking players do that. Just turn over both fucking cards! Anyway. Now, he's already been told, Mo has already told him he has a flush. The small blinds. We'll call him Checkers. Checkers knows that the button has declared a flush. He says, I have a straight. He's like, is it straight good? I mean, now he thinks he has a prayer if Mo made a mistake. But Mo turns over the winning hands. As declared, he knew he had a flush. He did, in fact, have a flush. He tried to check Queen Jack suited on the button when it folded to him. Instead, he limp called from the small blind, flopped a flush, turned a invalid top pair because he already has a flush. It's just funny that the small blind jammed, got snap called. It's 10-8 deuce jack. All three spades. He has pocket nines, no spades. He gets snapped, and he just skips right to the flush. It's like he can beat you a lot of different ways, In fact, he did beat you with that top pair on the turn. He can beat you with a 10. He can beat you with a set, of course, which is better than a 10. Why did his mind go straight to a flush? You have a third pair with an open-ender, with a shitty open-ender, because there's three spades, you don't have one. It's just so bafflingly funny to watch, hear the things people say at 1-3. I mean, I think 2-5 is full of fools. I mean, and it is. But 1-3, I mean, it was like special ed, or intensive. I mean, I wasn't in special ed classes. I was in intensive classes, some of them. But these 1-3 players, they just, their understanding of the things, from the things they asked to just everything. I mean, it's just so not up to speed. Hope I didn't offend anybody with the special ed thing. I mean, look, special ed students, we know what's going on with special ed students. They're having a hard time, very hard time. Doesn't mean it's their fault. At poker, it is your fault. You're an adult. So then this guy sits to my right, and he looks like this old man. He looked like an old John Voight, if John Voight tried to become like a trans woman and had only just started the process. That's what this person looked like. They also had this long gray ponytail, through a baseball hat, I think. Not of a baseball team, but just a baseball hat. And 3 to my left is this other older guy who's dressed all serious with sunglasses and, a nice blazer. I mean, he's just looking all business. So this John Voight trans starter sits down and asks him, sir, am I buying you dinner tonight? And the silent man does not say anything. He looked a little bit like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet, Frank Booth. Check out that movie if you haven't seen Blue Velvet, directed by David Lynch. That is a fantastic movie. And you don't hear people talk about it as much as they should. That movie is incredible. Anyway, I'm wondering if these two guys know each other, but it doesn't seem like they do. And then the silent man, Frank Booth, then the Voight lookalike says, I guess I'll have to call you Putin. So not much of a conversation here. We have a stranger asking another, strangers talking. He says, sir, am I buying you dinner tonight? No response. And he says, I guess I'll have to call you Putin. That was it. So it's technically not a conversation because I think there was only one person who spoke. This all happened inside of about 15 to 20 minutes, by the way. I mean, I'll say this about 1-3. It's very entertaining. 2-5 is not so entertaining. I mean, it's very entertaining, but in a very you want to take a sledgehammer to the nearest wall type of entertaining. So then Mo stacks off to me. I think he limp called the straddle, or maybe he had straddled. I raised to 22 with ace queen of hearts. I hadn't done anything really to this point, but I was also still new to the game. The flop was ace 8-5 2 hearts. Although I remember this pot went 3 ways. So ace 8-5 2 hearts, and Mo donks out 25. And he's not that deep, and I should have raised more than this, but I only min-raised to 50. I could easily make it 65, 70. What the fuck is he bet folding at this point? This guy hasn't really put much money in. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's not putting a lot of money in. He's just slowly spewing every which way. So when it comes ace 8-5 2 hearts, and he's donking 25 into 60, he's not folding to a modest size raise. I can definitely go bigger than 50. He calls. I almost didn't want to make the flush. I wanted to do this, a little bit more crafty. But, having the nuts, that's fine. I'll deal with that if I have to. And I did. What'd I say? Jack of hearts. He checks. He calls 40. Now you got to be careful not to bet too much. The river's a 10. And he check calls his stack. I mean, I don't know how much he had left on the river. Over 100. He had ace 4 clubs. He had flops top pair, no kicker, no backdoor clubs. Donks 25, calls a 50. See, he would have, he's going to call 65 with that. So I can bet more on the turn, or rather, I just have more money in on before the turn card comes. I mean, you should want that. So then he check calls. I mean, my sizing was good on the turn to make sure that, it's like because I thought about jamming turn, but it's like, he might have gotten away from that. I mean, but he's just got top pair and he just can't let it go. I mean, it's just amazing that he just stacked off of that hand. And that was a nice little throwback, nice little gift, even if it wasn't like a huge pot. Then I saw some guys get into a pot on the river where it went check on the river, and the guy who checked in position lost. And then he spoke in the third person. He's like, "Good check, Ike." Then I moved seats to get some bigger fish to my right, including Mo. I mean, there were 3. The John Voight guy, trans sort of, he had 100. The guy next to him had 100, and Mo had 100. There were $300 stacks in this win 1-3 game, which granted is 9-handed. But I move a couple seats, and then I think a few players limped. I made a 25 with ace-jack offsuit, and one of the early position limpers who'd been pretty quiet to that point, but he calls. I was a little surprised by that. We go heads up. Mo folded. Mo was one of the limpers. Flop is jack 3-3, 2 diamonds. And I do not have a diamond, and before I even bet, I was like, can you imagine if you get check raised on this flop? I bet 25 at like half, and he raises to fucking 80. And you know something? I wanted to fold right here, and I wish I had. I really do. Because he just came out with such confidence, and this is one of the guys who's not going to be putting money in a spot in a manner this way without a huge hand. He's going to be jamming the turn. It's like, just fold now. Just make a huge, amazing ninja fold now. But I didn't. I call. And then I get an easy decision on the turn. It's the 4 diamonds. So, if now that's a good turn card to fold to. He does a whole show, jams, it's probably something close to pot, maybe under pot. And I snap fold. And it's like I was probably just beat on the flop. I mean, there was only one combo of ace-3 suited because of the card removal. It's like, did this guy really just like limp call 3-4 or 3-5 suited? Or pocket threes? I mean, if he had quads, I mean, do you think he's going to play it that fast? I mean, it's just an ugly spot. I mean, or, who knows? The guy could have limp raised even, or just make some weird, take some weird line with queens or kings. Check raise that hand on the flop. You see stuff like that once in a while. It's like, one thing that doesn't make sense is for him to have a hand worse than mine. Even on the flop. Even on the flop. And any hand I'm ahead of, I'm not like crushing. I mean, I have his nut flush draws in not as good a shape as if, say, he had a queen or king high flush draw, given that I had ace jack. But it's just a bad spot. I mean, it sounds like ridiculous to just fold ace jack to this situation. But it's like, where do you think this is going? And I know I'm not stacking off with this hand because people don't make you stack off with these hands unless they can beat it from this player type. If it was some buffoon, yeah, of course you're just going to go with it and live with whatever happens. But against the right player types, you can just completely smoke them in situations like this. So I'm pissed at myself for not doing it. And I don't even know that would have been correct. I still think that's what I should have done. So I was pretty annoyed about that hand. Then the next hand he limps in again and does another limp. And I have 7-6 of clubs. Oh yeah, Mo limped again. And I made it 25 over the 2 limps, which is big. I mean, I've been opening pretty big at 1-3, and I don't know how great it is because the SPR is over, but it just, people are going to make so many mistakes post-flop, and even though it's not nearly as deep as you can play at 2-5, I just feel like pumping up the pot. I mean, it just feels like it's going to make players give you action more often than they should. So, fuck it. It goes heads up again. Mo folded. Me and the same guy, and here we go. Ace-9, 7, 2 hearts. All I got is bottom pair, weak backdoor straight jaw, no backdoor flush. I mean, I still think betting flop is a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of hands I can bluff later on. Still a slim chance of improving. So I bet 20 into 50, and he check raises me again, this guy. He check raises me to 80. Obviously much easier fold this time. I mean, what did he have this time? Did he just like flop 2 pair? I mean, look, people get big hands close together sometimes. If you do, then so do they. Isn't it crazy when you flop huge like 2 hands in a row? Yeah, of course it is. They're going to do it too, though. So after all that, about 2 hours worth. I think I was up around 150, and the game was boring. This game was getting reggy and grindy, and I just didn't care. So I decided I'm going to go watch some baseball at the sports book for a little while, come back, and see if I can run around again. And I do get back, and I find myself in exactly what you sort of expect 1-3 to be, just a total freaking mania madness. If I ever do decide to just leave 2-5 for a while and play a lot of 1-3, I mean, I'm going to be going in at night. I'm going to be playing late hours. That'll be the gig. But anyway, sit down and the game feels like it's got some wheels turning. Second hand, I have pocket kings. And I raise to 12. And there's a call, and there's a call. And there's a 3-bet to 75, and then there's a cold call. The 3-bet to 75 came from the small blind. Another young Asian guy, my favorite guys to beat. And then the action folds back to me. A lot of dead money out there. Just a perfect spot with kings. And then there's a comment coming from a player, and that player's name is Kenna James. Kenna James has over 4.2 million in tournament winnings. He's in his 50s at least because he plays the seniors events. This is a guy who's, very experienced. I mean, he seems like one of these like mid-ish stakes tournament players. His resume shows that he can play some poker. I've played cash with this guy, on and off little not streaks, but just sparingly over the years. And I feel like I haven't played that great against him, but he seems to be the type of player who generates players to get him to do what he wants, players who aren't very good. He's action. He's in there to play cash. I mean, he's there to get in there. Seems like maybe he was having a bad day, but either way, now he starts giving me shit a little bit. He says to the dealer, he's like, don't you hate when players do that? He's like, when they don't bet 10 or 15, when they make it 12, and then you got to like make change. This is like a funny thing to say. And I'm just, watching this. I mean, and listening. I mean, I got kings here. I got other things to think about. But the dealer who's responding, he's this older white guy. And he was like, no. He's like, I heard him say something about it being strategic. I mean, I wasn't paying close attention to this. I have kings. I'm trying to figure out what size to 4-bet to. And at first I was going to make it some dumbass size, like 275. But then I realized I think jam is the best way to get called here. If he has aces, I don't care. But if you want to get looked up by anything somewhat light, I mean, jam could look the most ace-king-ish. And it wasn't even that big of an overjam anyway. The kid had about 400 something, and I cover that. So I just go all in. Fold, gets over to him. He's got the big blind behind him. He's got about 300, and who knows if he's going to freaking call if it's something ridiculous, but probably not. But the small blind is thinking, and it looks like he's genuinely thinking. And he calls. The other guy folds. The flop is low. Then I show my hand. And he doesn't look too happy. River is nothing. Kings are good. He had pocket tens. So yeah, I mean, this was just one of these satisfying moments. I tell you how I love beating these fucking young Asian regs more than anything because they want to go in there and fucking make these brilliant plays and own you. Yeah, this is exactly it. This is the perfect fucking situation I'm talking about. He just wants to thread the needle so bad and make me show him ace king and try and outrun me with the tens, which, he's a fairly decent favorite. But we know what's going on here, obviously. He's just always got ace king, He just wants to thread the needle. It's my second fucking hand. I was wearing the big black cowboy hat, and, maybe he just thinks I'm just some Western cowboy hat guy from Texas throwing it in there with who knows what. That's what this guy wanted to have happen. Doesn't think about the fact that his equity is going to be very, very bad here. We all know what this is. Classic spot. Crushed or a little ahead. Not worth it. Trying to thread the needle. Pay the price. Now, what would I have done with ace king in that spot? I don't know. I mean, I may have either 4-bet to a size like the size I was originally thinking about with kings, like 275, to make it look more like aces or kings if I do that. I mean, or I might just call because I'm afraid of this. Because I'm afraid he's going to go with it too often. And I'm just, having a hand all in with not great luck. So 2 hands in, between the dead money and stacking this guy, I have more than doubled up in this hand. And we got Kenna James talking shit. I mean, Kenna was being funny. I mean, he was like, they just sit right down and just get a huge hand. I was like, yeah, easy game. Tough game. I was like, tough game. That's what I said. But he was also commending me. He's like, man, you earned that. He's like, oh, you would have gotten a call from me too, thinking you had ace king. He said, because you were like, they bought the look on my face as I was looking so befuddled. Like, I mean, I didn't even, he was like, that was some great acting. I wasn't trying to fucking act. I was like thinking, like, what size do I go here? I was like, yeah, I'm just going to jam. And then I told him this. And I was serious, by the way, because before I made up my mind to jam, I was thinking to not jam. And I said to him, I thought about it making 301 because of these comments he was making earlier in the hand about that must tilt you as a dealer when these players raise to these odd sizes using the dollar chips. Then he was talking about how, like, you know, it costs the player money because the dealer has to slow down the hand to make the change. And it's just like, dude, what? Why are you talking about this? So then the guy I stacked with the kings, he rebuys. Now he raises the 10, and there's a call. And now look what I have, aces. 3 bets at 40, but he folded this time. But the guy who called the 10 called the 40, and he was very short. He had like $100 left. He just put 40 in with like $100 left, calling out of position, 3 bet. And the flop comes 7-3-4, 2 clubs. I do not have a club. This is a pretty decent flop to check back. But you know, given his stack size, I mean, he's just going to put it in with so much stuff that I just spit on it, bet 25, and he folded, which, all right, that's too bad. But he's not folding any gut shot, any pair plus, any pair anything. He's going to jam with a ton of stuff. I think when you're at 1-3 and the guys are this short stack, you don't need to get too cagey and check. I mean, I'm not saying it's check is bad. You still got the other 2 streets to get the whole stack in. It's just not totally necessary. But I definitely thought about it. So those 2 hands pretty much made me. I ended up winning a little over 700 on this session. Oh yeah, one more hand came up. I mean, this is one of the few times I didn't want to play a long session, but it's like, you know, how often does it work out where you're just hoping you catch a quick hit right away and leave? You know, probably better chance of hitting a 2-outer on an all-in than that happening. When you want it to happen. It always happens if you're just going in there and planning to be there for 8 hours. Yeah, you can win in the first hour and a half. No problem. But if that's what you have in mind, no, it never works out that way. But it did today. But my last hand of the day, raised to 12 under the gun with ace-4 of hearts. There's 2 calls. It gets the Ken on the button. He 3-bet to 60. And, you know, it's the right size. And this is just the perfect fist-pumping spot to 4-bet bluff with ace-4 of hearts. But given the way he was playing, I actually thought it was a good spot for him to actually have it this time. And the loose way he was playing, if I'm going to 4-bet, I'm probably going to have to 4-bet huge, 4-bet commit. I mean, I don't know. It was the perfect fist-pumping spot to, like, run a 4-bet bluff. With this hand, everything. But I kind of thought he thought I was playing tight. So if he's 3-betting my under the gun raise, even with 2 callers and dead money out there, I mean, look, he's still going to have some hands there. You know, if he's going to fold queens, then I guess, yeah, you know, you got to be 4-betting for sure because he's folding a hell of a lot if he's folding queens. But it was funny, right before that hand, actually, he raises dark under the gun, and it folds to the big blind. The guy with the 10s, who I stacked, he 3-bets all in blind. So we have an under the gun raise that's blind, folds around to the big blind, and he 3-bet jams blind. And then Kenna calls blind. And the board ran out, blah, 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 blah. First, they turned over 1 card before the rest of the showdown was done. The Asian kid turned over a 5, and Kenna had a 3. A 3 ran out, and the board was pretty uncoordinated, so that put him in great shape. And then the other guy had a 7-5 offsuit, and Kenna had 9-3 of diamonds. So he raised under the gun blind with what ended up being 9-3 of diamonds, and then called 100 all in total blind after the big blind jammed blind. And he had 7-5 offsuit, and Kenna gets it in with a better hand and wins. And then Kenna said after, if you look at your cards, it affects what you do. And I said to him, I was like, I think you're onto something. And he was being funny, but like I think his frustration was a little real because there was a guy who sits down to my left. He's like, you look like another like 2-5 or 5-10 reg, just like waiting. And the guy's like, no, like I am a 1-3 player. And then he's like, okay. He's like, I believe you. So I guess he had a read on the personality response. Because I guess it's true that, you know, the 2-5 players take themselves too seriously. I mean, the 2-5 players who move up from 1-3, you know, they're much more disciplined, but they're too disciplined. And the reason they made money at 1-3 is because they just play against so many spewing players, so many fish, so many guys who were just awful at poker. And that's how they made money. But when you go to 2-5 and, you know, it's like the honors class, I mean, there's just so much less spewing going on because people are so nitty that it just doesn't work out for them. And I must say, I definitely get a bit of a satisfaction of sorts when I see these 2-5 regs who tilt me just from looking at them because they're so nitty and think they're so good because they've been running good for a little while, and whether they're running hot against me or not, I mean, it makes me feel so good when I see a few months later I see them at 1-3 and you can tell they're just going to stay there. And it's just like, yeah, you got what was coming the whole time. This is how I am. I just want to fucking just bludgeon people to death and shit on them every which way. When I'm playing poker with people and thinking about them at the table, all I think about is just how I just want to bury you in the sandbox and never let you out. I mean, the way I'm talking now, I mean, it's like I'm talking like someone who sounds like they should retire, right? This fucking just years and years reg. First played higher, now he's at 2-5. Now he's just like, he can't even get himself up for it the last bunch of weeks, and he's just now looking down the barrel of these 1-3 players. I mean, it's a very fun environment, but it's like, I think I've only needed it in small doses all these years. I mean, I only have a few hundred hours at it, and that's going back to before I moved to Vegas. So it was a good day. I won a little over 700 in these 2 sessions split into 3 hours. I've been coming back from my $3 big blind downswing, a specific downswing to that game, where I took a crazy cooler at South Point a few months ago. Got to 2-3 heads up. Long story short, I had 10-8, he had king 10, and I think he backdoored the nut straight, giving me the second straight. And yeah, you can figure out how that one ended. He check-shoved the river, actually. And wow, what a shocking gut punch that was. I mean, it's not about the money sometimes. I mean, it's just having that happen heads up live. It's like I go to 2-3 at South Point looking for a little hour of action. I'm not thinking like I'm going to get like clipped in this game, but it can happen. You never know when you're going to get hit with that thunderbolt. So I've been using 1-3 these last few years as like, a game I play between like 10 and 20 to 30 hours a year. I think right now I have just about 14 hours of 1-3. And that number could get bigger soon. I don't know. I want to just be normal again and feel normal again and just get back to work and just get back to 2-5. And something, it might just be as simple as stop thinking about it and just do it. But sometimes if you just do something, it still doesn't, you can take that mentality, but like you could just be forcing it. I mean, I'm trying to think of like what caused me to stop wanting it recently. I mean, yeah, I took some losses and took a couple of bad beats and got heroed by a ridiculous hand and got 2-outed in a ridiculous way. I mean, but this is just poker. I mean, nothing's really changed. So I don't know. I think I'm just a little tired right now, but trying to get it back, want it to come back. I feel like you can't make it come back, but we'll see how I feel tomorrow. And I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll see you next time.